This is the Tiger Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score.
Good Wednesday evening and welcome into the High School Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score. We're talking friendship, so we're going to start with the Tiger Fan Zone like we do every Wednesday. This will be the last Tiger Fan Zone of November because I need to check that. I want to make sure that I'm right about that. There's no High School Fan Zone next week, so the next one will be December 4th. And I told Coach Northcutt the other day I kind of expect him to be in here talking about it would be 2 more playoff wins, right? By then.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
So no pressure. No pressure on any of you guys. So you got to start out before you can win 2. You got to win 1, though, and that one's a big one this week.
One at a time. Yep.
Friendship, Southlake Carrol, 6 p.m. Friday at Anthony Field, Wildcat Stadium at ACU. We've been here before. You guys have been here before. You've talked about Southlake Carrol for 3 years in a row now. I would imagine you don't mind talking about them some more, Holden, because that means you're still in the playoffs.
Absolutely. We love playing them every year. It's a good competition every year, and you get to this round of 2, you know you're playing a great team out of Dallas, whoever it is. Just, you know, you're facing, and it's where we want to be right now. Second round of playoffs, playing our best ball.
You're getting a little bit of a different look at them this year than you had last year, because last year you were on the other side of the ball getting ready for their offense, right?
Yes, sir. Playing defense last year. Now I'm on the offensive side, whole different side of the ball, whole different way of looking at the game.
Leyton, they look the same to you because you're getting ready for the same, I don't know if they're all the same guys, but the same scheme, the same talent level, the same really good football team. You told me the other day, though, that this team is not, that you're not bothered by playing them again. You're kind of excited about the chance to play them again.
Yes, sir. I mean, it's going to be a great experience. I mean, it'll be my 3rd time playing them in a row. So it's nothing different this year. We have a great squad. I mean, the team I have this year it's amazing. I've never been a part of a team like this. The chemistry, the way that we talk to each other, it's just different. The way that we act is different. Northcutt talks about it all the time. I mean, this team is just different. And we're going to go out there and compete, and no one on that team is going to be scared.
Jay and I talked about this a couple of times after the game and then again the other day. You guys' maturity level was pretty important last week because human nature, you wanted to beat El Paso Montwood, so that's on the front burner. It's just human nature that you guys have been thinking about Southlake Carrol for a little bit. It's just impossible not to. Coaches have to do that and not talk about it because they're superstitious, and although now you get to grow facial hair, we had that discussion. Although that wasn't a J rule, so things have changed a little bit. But how did you guys balance that last getting ready for Montwood, but also knowing there's somebody waiting there for you if you take care of business?
Well, in these last 10 games, we've won 10 straight, so every week's just been 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. So we knew we were going to play them, and we know we're going to go farther than that. So we knew we were going to play them, but we stayed to that week, and when our time was for us to come out, we encouraged all the other guys that got the opportunity to play the whole night.
So Holden, a pretty good way to take pressure off is to flip it out to Chase and let him run 70 yards on the first play of the game.
Absolutely.
That eased the tension a little bit. I'm sure that you would like that to happen all the time, but how much did that just kind of settle the waters a little bit?
Oh, it settled the waters a lot. I mean, knock on wood, we've scored every first drive of the season, and it just sets a good tone for the game. Just get our offense hot. We love taking the ball first because we love getting on the board first, and just how it is sets a tone to the game. Just like that, one play, one score, just sets a tone for the whole game, knowing our offense is going to be working.
I don't think I've ever asked you this. You have a pretty good seat for what Chase and Leyton are able to do every game, but when you flip it out to him like that and you see, I don't know if the seas parted for him or what, but he made one move and all of a sudden defenders are like, what's going on here? Is it fun to kind of watch things play out when you're back there?
It is fun. It's just watching 2 studs make crazy plays that nobody really else can. Like going back to the Permian game, I threw one ball kind of high. Leyton goes up there, catches it in one hand. You're playing quarterback, but you're still watching crazy play that everybody else. You're feeling the same way, just excitement, and it's just crazy plays that guys are going to play on Saturday.
I've not watched you as much. I used to watch Hud, though. If there was some pressure, and once in a while there was, he'd throw a ball, and if he wound up on the ground, he'd start kind of looking to see what had happened at the other end, because he knew if he was sitting at one of those two, that pretty good chance that even though he got hit, that something good was going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like you said, you throw it to them, there's more than likely you're going to come down with it. And thing that I think has been proved a lot on this season is after their catch and like through contact, because they've both got a lot stronger, a lot more yards after catch, and it's just a great sight to see.
And Leyton's like the man of changing hair. Every time I talk to him, I feel like I need to take another picture of him because now what do we call this?
It's a little mullet.
Jay, this goes back to when you and I were in high school.
Back in time, the 90s, and early 90s,
I go back to the 80s.
Maybe 80s for you, Randy. We won't tell anybody, though. I guess we just did.
My dad didn't have a facial hair rule, but he had a pretty strict no mullet rule. He would actually measure where it was on my neck. And that and no earrings up here, right?
No, sir.
No earrings.
There was no, that was the other thing. I was afraid I'd get one wake up without an earlobe if that happened. So somehow we've gotten off on to 1980s and 90s fashion here. We're going to talk a little bit more about football. We'll talk about Paso Montwood. You guys did take care of business 63-0 when you started sending in second and third. So you guys, sir. I'm sure that made it easier to coach. It's not easy, but easier.
It's never easy, but always good to be up by 63.
That's good to be on that side than on the zero side.
Sure.
We've got a lot of football, a lot of friendship football to talk about still when we come back. Tigers play Southlake Carrol, 6 p.m. You guys are on 93.7 this week. I want to make sure Keith Patrick doesn't text me and scold me. They've slid you guys over down I don't think it's called the dial anymore, but they've slid you down a little bit because there's some basketball and football. There's all kinds of stuff going on Friday night. There'll still be people listening. There'll still be people watching. I talked to Devin. You guys, TV crew will still be there.
Yes, sir.
So there'll be all kinds of eyes on that game Friday night, 6 p.m. at ACU, Class 6A Division II area round. We'll be back after the break on the Tiger Fan Zone. This is 100.7 The Score.
Bringing you the latest news from Friendship Athletics. This is the Tiger Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back to the Tiger Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score. I did a bad job of introducing people when we first came on. I'm Randy Rosetta. To my far left, if you're watching on TV, is Friendship Coach Jay Northcutt. Next to him is Leyton Stone in the starting to get stale World Series champion sweatshirt there. But at least it's not the Yankees replacing him this year. So, and next to him is Holden Philips, the former safety, now quarterback. Are you a Yankees fan, Holden? Or are you a Rangers fan?
I'm a Rangers fan.
Okay, good.
You didn't hurt his feelings with your comment. Right?
We were just talking about the newest K-State commit, Cub Patton from Lubbock Cooper. With him and Hud Hutchison there, I'm having to kind of choke down.
You might become a K-State fan. Is that what I'm hearing?
No. I've got too much Jayhawk in my blood, but I will politely clap when those do big things. That's pretty good. Matt Wells has developed a little bit of a pipeline down here now.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
He knew the way around West Texas.
Yeah. Yeah, he might not have when he came here, but when he left, he did.
He sure as heck did. I'm going to have to talk to somebody up in Lawrence, see if they can't figure out a way to get down here, see if they can't swing Leyton. Maybe they can make a late push.
That cannot happen. No, sir.
I asked Michael Deaver this the other day. You guys are you going to compete for playing time, or are you going to compete to both get on the field at the same time?
I don't really know. I just know that I'm going to work as hard as I possibly can.
Well, that's a pretty good combination to have both of you coming in. That's a quarterback's dream to have those two. I mean, you've already got a quarterback's dream, but if they can get Chase in there too, that's whoever the quarterback's going to be by then is going to be a pretty happy camper.
Yeah. Yeah, they're studs. They're a bunch of studs in the 806, and people find them. Joey finds them.
Yeah, they find some baseball guys too as well. Mm-hmm. And not to give away any secrets, but you haven't completely closed the door on football.
No, sir.
Because I keep seeing stuff pop up on social media.
Sir.
So you're still entertaining.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Coach has mentioned that he's talked to some guys about you as well. So, and there's a reason, because if I can find your stats, I've got Southlake Carrol stats. We can talk about them and come back and talk about you. Jay, why, we talked the other day, why is Southlake Carrol, what makes them so good? Why have they been so good for so long out there?
Well, I think, as these guys mentioned, they built a culture. We feel like we've built a culture here. And they've built a culture that they've been able to keep together for a long, long time. And I think success, it validates that culture. And so it just keeps getting pushed forward. Riley Dodge was part of that, and kind of part of it when it first got going. I coached against Riley Dodge when he was playing in high school. That kind of ages me a little bit. But, him being able to come back in there and kind of, pick back up where his dad left off, I think culture's definitely got to be the biggest answer to that question. And
Dad's back. Dad
back in the Metroplex, yeah.
Lucas Lovejoy, that's who Lubbock Cooper started the season against when you guys were playing Byron Nelson. So that sometimes coaches can't completely walk away. So
sure.
You're still too young to be thinking about that. So
thank you, Randy. Appreciate that.
Got some ripening on the vine to do. Coach mentioned you guys' culture. Friendship's culture goes back to Bobby Davis and Brad Davis. When Coach got there were some growing pains. You guys have both been there. You guys have been in the friendship system since Coach got there, right?
Yes, sir.
And I can't remember who I talked to a few weeks ago about playing for a outright district championship after watching guys struggle through 0-10 and having to rebuild from that. I'll ask you two, what's it mean to you two to be a part of that team that now can say we helped go from 0-10 to now we're the outright district champions?
I mean, it means a lot just watching it. Like I said, how we're watching Chad Ferris and my brother out there, and they kind of started it, just the upright success where Donovan started for. And then we just seen progression every year, and finally our sophomore year we shared a district championship title, but that wasn't good enough to us. We wanted to win it ourselves, and senior year I feel like we've set a tradition of winning here, and that's probably going to last on forever.
Leyton, I did talk to you a couple weeks ago, and you said you guys wanted to be selfish. You wanted that thing alone, and you went and got it.
Yes, sir. I mean, the taste that I was left in my mouth after we lost to Permian my sophomore year and wasn't able to have it outright, it was awful, and I hated it so much. And then especially dropping those first two district games after going 5-0 to start the season, that hurt a lot too. But we picked it up and won 4 straight. And won a by-district championship, so that helped. But it was fun winning with those guys sophomore year, but I wanted to win it with these guys. Like, I wanted to win it with my best friends in the whole world. The Noahs and Holden and Maverick and all those guys, like, I've played with them since I was little. And it's always been a dream of ours to be able to play with each other like that on the big stage. And it's pretty cool to see how this season's turned out. Like, we've talked about that since freshman year, like how we were going to do that, and kept saying it.
And we'll talk more about that when we come back after the break on the Tiger Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score.
Breaking down friendship sports. This is the Tigers Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back to the final segment of the Tiger Fan Zone before they head to Abilene to take on Southlake Carrol, 6 p.m. Friday at Wildcat Stadium on the campus of ACU in the 6A Division II area round. So I mentioned Southlake Carrol. We didn't really get into their stats. Their stats aren't as good as you guys, so we'll focus on yours. So Holden, you need 37 more yards to go past 4,000. You said something the other night about playing on that field since you were a little kid. Did you ever in your head think, I'm going to throw for 4,000 yards and a school record, how many is it, 52 touchdowns someday?
Absolutely not. When I was growing up, we were still running under center. All I knew was just hand the ball off and see somebody go run, and never knew I was going to be out there throwing a crazy amount of passes to crazy receivers all day.
And Leyton, so Coach and I have this thing after a game. I'll say, how did Leyton do that? And he'll just look at me he'll just shrug. It'll be like, that's just something Leyton does. And this goes back to your sophomore year, like Lubbock Cooper. I won't mention the post-game interview. But the Lubbock Cooper game is when you kind of put your stamp on things. You're a soccer kid. You're a soccer coach's dad. You're supposed to be good with your feet. So where did the hands come from?
I have really no idea. My whole family, they were all basketball players.
Okay.
A lot of basketball players, hockey players, stuff that doesn't really require great hands for football. And none of them ever played football. I have no football in my family at all. Only European football. That's it. So I don't know. It just kind of came, but the footwork definitely came from soccer for sure. I use that a lot, and not as much as Northcutt would like me to use on my routes. But I'm just blessed. I'm just blessed to have the parents that I had, and they were able to have me. So yeah, that's it. That's really all I got.
So Holden, Coach and I have talked about this a lot too. Watching you play quarterback, you can see the second baseman come out once in a while. You can see the guard in basketball come out once in a while. How do those three sports all kind of intertwine for you when you're out there playing quarterback?
Yeah, like you said, baseball I can fill in some type of throws I throw, be able to turn my body. Basketball just with the feet, but just really just having fun out there, just playing all the games I love to the hardest level I can, just having fun.
I'm going to put Coach on the spot here a little bit. He told me that a young Holden Philips sometimes would take off on plays and not let things develop, but then you grew up a little bit, matured a little bit. When you look back to when he was coaching you at that young age, you kind of go, man, that dude knew what he was talking about back then.
I like to think so. I think he knows what he's talking about, coaching me.
They make me look like I do, right?
Yeah, like you said, how just some point he's like, just because the play falls apart doesn't mean it's over. And it's how we'd like to see it now, because the crazy receivers I have, just because their first route's not open, their second route is, and you can just make a little move and throw it to Leyton, throw it to Chase, throw it to Maverick, and they're going to make a play.
Leyton, you've played with two pretty good quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. Going from one to the next, what did you have to adjust to this year with Holden? I mean, you've played with him for years, but going from Hud to Holden this year, how did you have to adjust?
The only adjustment that I would say is when I knew I wasn't getting the ball, I turned around and started blocking. When I knew my route was shut down, now I'm turning around, I'm looking for him to find me on that second route he was talking about. When Hudson saw that there wasn't a guy downfield, he wouldn't sit there and look, because he was pretty fast, so he'd take off. Holden's very fast too, but he also he doesn't like to show it much with how elusive he is with his arm talent. He makes plays that I've never seen before, rolling out to his left side and be able to throw it on the run. That stuff's incredible. I've never seen stuff like that before.
That's the old fifth grade Holden that comes back out.
Yes.
When he needs the fifth grade Holden to come out playing youth league, he brings him back out.
Yes.
And that fifth grade Holden has probably watched number 15 in a red and gold uniform a little bit, who does
he used to wear 15, actually.
That's exactly the way you described him, is exactly what makes Patrick Mahomes is he doesn't. And once in a while he runs, and Patrick is not fast, but Patrick finds a way to get the job done. Just watching you this year, Holden, I've said this to Coach a bunch. Donovan was great at what he did. Chad was great at what he did. But you've added a little bit of a different wrinkle than any of those guys. Is that just years of watching or playing defense? Has that also helped you?
Well, I just think it's just me just trying to make a play and just trying to, like me and Leyton talk about during the games, like we're just playing out there like we're playing in recess. Just you're trying to throw it deep. You're trying to throw it to your guy. Fifth grade Holden.
There we go.
Like Coach said, and just trying to make a play. And like you said, how just learning from the quarterbacks before, just see Hud's work ethic, learn a lot from Chad, and it's all got passed down. I just want to take it all from everybody else.
Well, and the Tigers have continued to build year in and year out. They have the best record under Jay Northcutt in his tenure as they head into the area round against Southlake Carrol, 6 p.m. Friday at Wildcat Stadium. We'll be back after the break with the Pirate Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score.